I make mountains out of molehills, and it can be quite the scene. Think about how far I've come in my life, looking greater than it's ever been. If I could eat my pie in the sky, it would be just my thing. Sipping on my champagne, and my life looking greater than it's ever been. My life looking greater than it's ever been. How did you rise so fast, so high, and not melt your wings in the sun? You must be Africa's son. How did you rise so fast, so high, and not melt your wings in the sun? They say you must be an African. They say you must be Africa's son. They say you must be an African. They say you must be Africa's son. You must be an African.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this year's World's Largest Lesson, which is actually the first ever World's Largest Lesson done in Kenya. So I'm Tanya Kubai, and I am excited to be your moderator for the day. So today we're going to hear from Norra, Aloo, who is the event manager for this year's WLL. And then we're going to hear from Ellyanne Wanjiku, who is a young person just like yourself doing amazing things out here. Next, we're going to be hearing from Eliud Luutsa, who is a H4C, Heroes for Change representative. And then Victor Kairu, who is representing Uhai 365. And then lastly, we're going to hear from Jemimah Mutisya, who is the AIESEC in Kenya president. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited for that lineup. But just to give you something to work on, we're going to be having just some small riddles that are going to be given out during the session. So that will start now. So my riddle is, what has holes all around and can hold a lot of water? And the answer is a sponge. I don't know. I didn't know that before, but well, now you know. And just stay tuned for more, because there's so much that you could learn in the next coming session and, move forward and impact the world around you. So today I'm joined with a very amazing young lady who is not only the vice president of talent management in AIESEC in Kenya, but is also the event manager for this year's World's Largest Lesson. So welcome, Norra, to this year's World's Largest Lesson. So we're just gonna go right into it. And to the people watching this, what is the World's Largest Lesson and how did it begin?
Okay, the World's Largest Lesson, shortly known as WLL, is a program that was started a long time ago by Project Everyone to educate young children on current issues, and more recently, particularly this one, we're going to be discussing the Sustainable Development Goals, especially clean water and sanitation. Given the pandemic we've been having so far, we need to let our kids know how to handle their sanitation, how to clean their hands, how to be hygienic, so it's very important for us to educate our kids to be able to come and take part in the Sustainable Development Goals and to actually have a role to play rather than just knowing about them.
That is amazing. Especially having the pandemic centers all around clean water and also sanitation. It's very important that we're having this event. So what exactly would you say are your expectations for this?
I have one major expectation, which is to just educate our children in Kenya. Given people have been at home, kids are feeling a bit lost. They don't know what to do with their time. They don't know how to take in information. They don't know how to occupy or maybe even help around in the house. So I feel like it would be a really great space to just talk to kids all over the country to be able to know how to handle the situation, to be able to grow, to be able to make an impact even within their homes and as they interact with other people in the country.
That is actually very amazing. And for all the kids watching and young people, I hope that this event will actually strike some fire in you to, learn different ways to contribute, not only just to community and also just, maybe even at home. So we can't wait to present what we have for the day. And I really hope that you enjoy.
All right. Thank you.
And right now, we have just a short video explaining to you more about what exactly the SDGs are.
Hello, my name is Malala and I'm from Pakistan. We have a very urgent mission to complete by 2030 and you can help us. Together, we must fight inequality, end extreme poverty and respect our planet. I'm determined to do this. Are you?
Excuse me. Hello? Have you got a minute? Well, this is important. We need your help. Imagine you're traveling in space. You're looking for intelligent life. You've been traveling for a while because space is very spacious. You've already spotted millions of planets with no life at all, lots of acid, lava, that sort of thing. But nowhere you'd go for your holidays. And then you see it. Earth. A tiny island in space. A little speck of water, rock and soil with a thin veil of air that we can breathe. There might be life out there in space, but here on Earth, it's everywhere. On the land, in the water, in the air. Plants, insects, birds, fish and every type of living creature. Some beautiful, some, frankly, a bit weird. And people, billions of people like you and me. You know, beautiful, reasonably intelligent life. Well, I'm just saying. In most ways, we're just like the rest of life on Earth. We start from tiny seeds, and with the right conditions, we grow and mature. To do that, we all need the same basic things. No, not mobile phones, trainers and Facebook, but fresh water, clean air, and healthy food. Without those, we don't last long, no matter how smart our phones are. The good news is that Earth has enough for all of us. The bad news is we've got some serious problems in our way. The first is climate change. The way we're living on Earth now is damaging the very things we need to live. The fuels we burn are choking the atmosphere with gases we can't breathe. We're running out of clean drinking water, but some of us waste it on things that we don't need. And all of this is changing the weather, and that's not even the half of it. The second problem is inequality. Some people on Earth have far more than they need, and most people don't have nearly enough. Many live in terrible poverty. It's just not right. Millions of people are unable to get medicines or healthcare that could stop them from getting sick, or cure them if they do. In some places, children complain about having to go to school. In others, millions of children can't go to school at all. Is that fair? The thing is, we're causing these problems. So we can fix them too, if we all work together and get creative. Let me explain. If you think about it, all living things have superpowers. Birds can fly. We can't. Dogs can smell things we can't, which is not always a bad thing. Plants absorb gas that we can't breathe and turn it into air that we can. But human beings have a power that other creatures don't. We are the most creative creatures ever. Our heads are full of ideas and we're great at making things too. And with that power, we've already changed the world over and over and solved thousands of problems. So now we can do it again. The good news is we have a plan that can only succeed with your help. There is one organisation in the world that represents the people of 193 countries, and it's entirely dedicated to keeping us peaceful and working together. You may have heard of it, the United Nations. They have just announced the Global Goals for Sustainable Development. These are 17 goals to protect the planet against climate change and make the world safer, fairer and more just for everyone. We have to achieve these goals by 2030. The great thing about a plan is that we can check how we're doing as we go along, give ourselves a pat on the back if we do well, and try harder if not. 2030 isn't so far away, so we need to start right now. There's a lot we can do if we work together and get really creative. We can start by making these goals famous. So find out what they are and tell everyone. And ask everyone to tell everyone else. Then, and this is the exciting bit, see if there's something practical you can do to actually help. If we don't waste food, water or electricity, that would help protect the planet. If we all stick up for people who aren't being treated fairly and respect each other's human rights, that would make a big difference too. There are 17 goals altogether, so lots of different ways in which you can help. We also need some new ideas and new ways of doing things. What if being a girl or a boy made no difference to how safe you feel, the friends you have, or the places you could go? What if we found new ways to make water clean and drinkable? What if we could recycle all of our waste? What else do you think we could do? We all live on Earth, and we depend on the Earth to live. We have so many different cultures, but we only have one planet. If we take care of it and each other and share what we produce fairly and sustainably, everything we need is right here. Someday we may find intelligent life on other planets. In the meantime, let's see how intelligent we can make it down here for all of us. At home, on Earth.
I'm just saying.
And welcome to our first session. I'm pretty excited for it because this is not just any other session, but we're having a session with a 10-year-old who is creating impact. So for the kids watching, I hope you're going to get inspired by this young lady because we're gonna go through just different things on, you know, the tree coverage in Kenya and all that. So welcome, Ellyanne, and thank you for joining us. So we're just gonna go straight into it, yeah? In regard to the water catchment areas, yeah, how many trees, like what coverage do we have in Kenya, and how does the tree coverage impact a healthier water ecosystem and all that?
So first, before I say that, I'm going to say that Gong Forest is going to be demolishing all the houses that were built in the forest because Gong Forest used to be 7,000 acres, and now when the houses were built, it's 1,000 acres. So they're gonna demolish the houses, and they're gonna plant some more trees. And also in City Park, somebody owned it, an Indian, and now Kiriako Tobiko has said that it will be made a public park again.
Okay, so in regard to that, how important is it, like, okay, the number of people who drink from the river, how important is it that the trees around there impact a healthier or like promote a healthier ecosystem in terms of like the water and everything? How important is that?
It's very important because the trees will, although algae will be found in the rivers, which is not good for our health, trees, the oxygen might just kind of dissolve it or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so that people who drink from the river and wash from the river can have clean water.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. We're just gonna go straight into, you know, the projects because when we were researching, we saw that there were two very important projects here. One called the Sweeten River Project, and the second one is the Blue Ecosystem Vision. So when did this project start, and what was the impact that, you know, you were trying to achieve? So we'll just start with the Sweeten Rivers Project. Just what were you trying to achieve behind that project?
So I was 4 years old in kindergarten, and we did a project on heroes. And these heroes included Martin Luther King, Henry Wanyoike, Uhuru Kenyatta, Martin Nightingale, Barack Obama, and many other heroes. And then we were told about Wangari Maathai, and I asked many questions about her because I really wanted to be like her. So I went home. I was driven home, and I asked my mom if I could plant a tree in Karura. And she said, instead of going to Karura, we planted it at home. I don't know if it's a lime tree or an orange tree or a lemon tree, but that was my first tree. And then I asked my mom the next day if I could go to Karura. And she said yes. By my age, when I was 4, she didn't really think that a child at 4 years old would choose to start planting trees. Because normally children at 4 years old would just like playing and doing stuff. But what I normally say to myself was that this was something that was in me since the day I was born. And it came out when I was 4 years old, because I think God said that she will start doing. She's young, and I don't know if Wangari Maathai did that. I think yes, she did. So yeah.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I'm sure like you're inspiring a lot of young people right now. You know, there are many times people can think, oh, no, I'm too young to start the change and all that. So, wow, I could tell you for a fact that you are a true inspiration to the people watching this, you know, to the kids watching this. What was the vision behind the blue ecosystem? And when did it start? And how many numbers were you targeting, you know, to impact by 2030?
So my target started when I was, I think 8. And then my mom put it on my Instagram account and my other accounts. And my target is now to plant 1 trillion trees or even more.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to plant 1 trillion bamboo trees, because bamboo trees are very important. They produce a lot of supplies, including paper, pencils, books, spoons, utensils, etc. Yeah.
Okay, so what is one thing that you would tell the children watching right now in regards to, you know, starting impact, like the way you did? Because I know that there are many children who are, you know, like scared of starting because they think they're too young and all that. So what would you say like to the children, and also just like giving us a hint of how many trees you've planted so far and all that, you know, considering you're so young?
How many trees have I planted so far? I've planted 1,539, counting the 6 I planted in Eldoret, counting the 2 I planted in Naivasha. So what would I say to the kids? That don't be shy to share your talent, because your talent is your talent and nobody else can steal your talent. And even if, because I like teddy bears at 10 years old, and most ages, like my cousin, he doesn't even like teddy bears. But I don't really give such a mind about that, because to me, it's who I am, and that's how I feel about it. And because when I was in school, I was really bullied my first day of school by one of my bestest friends. And when I went home, I was sobbing in tears. And then my mom told me not to do that. Otherwise, bullies just are going to let you. When they see you cry, they have the power to make you cry more. So what I did the second day of school, the bully started bullying me again, and I just walked away. And as pretend like acted as if nothing had happened, and I just finished my lunch and everything was okay. So what I actually say to the children is that don't be shy to share your talents, because your talent is your talent and nobody can steal it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So I hope for the people watching this, you are learning from this because, like Ellyanne, she was bullied and all that, but here she is, a 10 years old, still making a difference in our country and, the world at large. So thank you so much, Ellyanne, for all the work that you do and also for, providing the time to come here and share your story with us. We really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Welcome everybody to this session, and with us today we have Eliud Luutsa, who is from Heroes for Change, which is an organization which helps with a volunteer program in Kenya and provides a platform for college students to make a difference. Eliud Luutsa is the experience manager and digital assistant for Heroes of Change, and he works with young people in developing and implementing social impact projects in our communities which focus on the various SDGs that we have. So thank you so much, Eliud, for joining us and welcome to this session.
Thank you so much, Tonya.
Okay, so we're just gonna go straight into it here. And so in the past 5 years, the rate at which children are dying from poor sanitation and hygiene has reduced. So what has been done to aid in this reduction of the numbers?
Yes, thank you so much, Tonya. That's a really great question. So yes, as you mentioned, over the recent past, we've had the number of deaths, especially caused by hygiene-related issues, reducing. So we've had studies showing us that over 780,000 children under the age of 5 in sub-Saharan Africa die each year due to preventable diseases like pneumonia and diarrhea. And we've also seen in recent studies that more than 34,000 newborn babies die each year in Kenya alone within the first month of life. And so that points to the fact that actually that means 90 newborn kids die every day. And so that number is really startling. And so these startling statistics point to the vulnerability of the first 28 days of the child's life in just determining the survival. So yes, a lot has been done. We can say the government has been a major player in this, trying to make the medication and medical facilities, improving the medical facilities so that kids can access good healthcare. And also we've had immunization being done just to have the kids live a happier life. And so we've also had organizations, and many of them coming up with projects that would teach kids on the importance of hygiene and sanitation related issues. So yeah, I will really attribute these efforts to the decline in the numbers over the recent past. But I would say there is still more that needs to be done with regards to these numbers, because yes, they're still rising and falling at the same time. So it all calls for a collective initiative and responsibility to get the numbers even further down.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. And as H4C, you run 2 projects, namely the School for 5 or the School of 5 and the Lifebuoy Neonatal Program. So tell us more about that, because I understand that they've really helped in the reduction of these same numbers that we're seeing.
Yes, that's right, Tonya. We have the 2 programs. We have the Lifebuoy School of 5. We also have the Lifebuoy Neonatal Mothers Program. So let me start with the first one. So the School of 5 program is an intensive behavior change program that really motivates students to practice the hand washing and soap behavior. And this was started back in 2017. It was an initiative by the Heroes for Change. And so in this program, we mainly focused on school-going children, and we went to the schools and taught them the key messages of hand washing, which were the fact that visibly clean is not clean. So yes, we have kids playing in the playgrounds and touching all the surfaces they could possibly touch because they are active. It's an active lot, and they end up having dirty hands at the end of the day, but they really look clean to them. And the fact that they look clean they may think they're clean. So one of the key messages we stress is that though your hands may visibly look clean, they are not actually clean until you wash them with soap and water. And we also stress on the key hand washing occasions. So the occasions when they need to wash their hands, that's before breakfast, before lunch, before supper, during a bath, and after visiting the toilet. We also stress those occasions because they interact with the germs in those areas, and it's key that they wash their hands before doing any of those things or during those particular occasions. We also the program also stresses on soap and water to keep the children from falling sick. So we have a habit in our communities where people just wash their hands with water alone, and the hands end up looking visibly clean, but the reality is the germs are still in on their hands. And so that's why we stress on the fact that for your hands to be really clean and actually clean, you have to wash them with soap and water. So we stress that message as well in that program. And the last message for the Lifebuoy School of Five is how to wash our hands. So we also teach our children how to wash their hands, the steps of washing your hands. Because most people just wet their hands and leave it there. But that's not enough, because when you just wet your hands, your germs are still there. So you have to go through the process, the steps. You have the 9 steps of hand washing, which I may just pass through really quickly. So you have to wet your hands first with running water and scrub with soap. And then you have to scrub your hands palm to palm, scrub the back of your hands, rub in between the fingers, clean the fingernails because there is so much germs there. Then make sure you rub your thumb as well, and also your wrist down here, so that you just make sure that any form of germs or dirt that would be on that region is also removed. And then now you can rinse your hands with running water. We insist on running water because it's water that is running is always clean, so that you make sure every drop that falls on your hands is clean and it's not adding on the germs that you're trying to eliminate. Mm-hmm. And yes, you also mentioned on the neonatal program. The neonatal program mainly focuses on new moms because they're the caregivers of these neonatals. So the neonatal program is it's a behavior change program as well that really motivates mothers to be and newborns and mothers of the newborns to practice hand washing before touching the baby. This is because the first 28 days, as I mentioned, of the newborn baby is very critical, and they're very sensitive to any form of dirt and germs. So make sure that their caregivers, before they touch them, they have to make sure they wash their hands. And the same steps are followed in hand washing, and also make sure every occasion before, as a mother, before touching the kid, you make sure you wash your hands. So it started back in, for the neonatal program, we started in 2016. And it was a partnership between Lifebuoy, the Kenya national government, the county government in Migori, the AMREF Health Africa, UNFPA, and other partners. And it was just meant to promote hygiene as a high impact intervention for maternal and newborn health. And yeah, we've really been able to teach so many, and we're so glad that the programs have made an impact.
That is actually really wonderful that, H4C have taken the initiative to actually teach the children, and not only children, but even mothers handling children, on how to, stay clean at any given point. And that's actually pretty good. I'm sure the children watching this right now have really learned a lot, especially on how to wash their hands properly, and also the steps that need to be taken when washing the hands. So thank you very much for that. So just moving on into the session, how do you think the young people watching this right now could reduce the number that we're seeing, especially with the children dying from this? How do you think we could help reduce that specific number?
Yes, I thank you for that. I feel that's a critical question because young people have a very key role to play in this. We believe that the young people are the hygiene champions. So being a champion, you have to champion the message. And I believe as young people, learning from what they have done before, the impact we've reached, I believe young people have the potential to do even more. Like just for example, what we've been able to do in the first year that we rolled out our program, we had 100 heroes, and that we recruited from Nairobi alone. So the heroes are the young people from schools, just schools around Kenya. We recruited 100 of them from Nairobi, and they were able to reach 180,660 children and moms. You can imagine over 180,000 children and mothers, just teaching them the messages. And in year 2, so we saw the performance in year 1 was really spectacular. We thought we can do this on a very bigger scale now. So we recruited 342 heroes from 4 different towns. So we had Nairobi, Nakuru, Kisumu, Eldoret, and surprisingly, they even surpassed their targets. We ended up reaching 742,000 and beyond, children and moms, just with these key messages of hygiene and hand washing. And so that's why I believe as young people, we can really join in and do so much more. As you can get actively involved in the hygiene conversations as well, and just be the people that come up with the solutions. I believe young people can do way more than what really, the government or the older generation perceives of them. I believe being the people that are, the beneficiaries of these messages, they need to be at the center of them. And so, yes, I know though the pandemic has really separated us through, social distancing, how to do that. But I still believe more young people can still work together, whether virtually and just joining through social media. And they can be joining the purpose-led courses out here and just around sanitation and hygiene to make sure that the messages reach the communities. And as champions of hygiene, as I mentioned, you can start by just teaching your family. You can start with your family, your siblings. Just teach them the right steps of washing their hands and remind them that they have to wash their hands on the different occasions. And also remind the moms, your mom that you have, she has to wash her hands before touching the baby. And that's how you become a champion. And you can start from there, from just your family to your community, and that's how we reach the entire country. Also, I believe that through just simple solutions that young people can come up with regards to, like erect, because we've had young people in our organization erecting tanks. Vulnerable ones. The main concern is that they may not have water. And so if you can be able to provide that water in a tank and it's clear running water, it can really be of importance. So mine is just to ask young people to really join in and just join in, start the projects, create the solutions, because you can, and we are here to support you.
Thank you so much. I am sure that the young people watching this have learned so much from that. And from what you've said, I know that as young people, we could do so much to reduce this number, just always remembering to clean our hands and all that. I know COVID-19 has brought about so many challenges, but even it's brought about so many lessons, sanitize, wash our hands and all that. So even moving on to the future, I'm sure as young people and just as the community at large, we could be able to adapt to these different procedures or different steps that have been brought out. So thank you so much, Eliud, for that. And to the young people watching this, I hope that you have learned a couple of things from this session. And it doesn't need to stop in the next 1 year or 2 years. It is something that should continue. And as you've heard, he said that you are the champions to this change. So thank you so much, Eliud, for joining us. And wow, just thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tony, again. And yes, young people, please take the mantle and just run with it, and we can do more through collaboration, as I always say. So thank you for having me, and we hope to even continue with the conversation another time and just make sure that young people get the lessons and the community is impacted. Thank you so much.
right now is none other than the actual founder of Uhai 365, and he goes by the name Victor Kairu. So, Victor, welcome so much to today's session. We're so happy to have you here. So, just tell us more about, Uhai 365.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm so glad to be here. And so Uhai 365, formerly Alive 365, was founded by a team of four enthusiasts, four young men, three ladies, three gents and one lady in the year 2019. The primary objective of founding this organization was to further the conversation about hygiene and sanitation within our country. So it was part of a competition by an organization called Boehringer Ingelheim from Germany. We took part in the competition and we won the competition as having the most innovative idea on how to address the challenges of hygiene and sanitation within our country.
Wow, that's that's pretty wonderful. And just going straight right into it. In the past 5 years, like I was telling the previous speaker, the child mortality rates have really reduced. Children are dying less from poor sanitation and hygiene. So what would you say has been done to be able to help with this reduction?
Yeah, as you have mentioned, the child mortality rate has been very concerning, especially in this country. Actually, based on the statistics from the World Sanitation Program, approximately 17,000 children die every year due to diarrhea and other hygiene-related diseases. So those are statistics that are very worrying, and we are called upon to take action and try to address this challenge. So as Alive 365 or as Uhai 365, we embarked on a project to address that challenge and try to come up with a solution that can actually contribute to having a more hygienic and a more hygiene community within our country. And we focused more on the low income settings, especially the urban slums, because that is where this mortality rates are high compared to the high end areas. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. So I'm guessing that is the project that you had started in Mukumu, yes?
Yes. Mukuru, Konjenga, Kwaruben, the entire Mukuru slum.
That's beautiful. And also adding on to that, this is something that's really also really touched me, that you guys actually have a board game. And I love board games. I hope the people watching love board games. So tell us more about this.
Yeah.
What made Uhai 365 think about the board game to address the issue on hygiene and sanitation?
Thank you. So I don't know if you can remember your childhood years. For me, I remember I used to love playing games, and since we are targeting the children, we thought, why don't we come up with a game that is going to be fun and interactive, but at the same time, this game is going to educate these children on hygiene and sanitation. So that is where we came up with a board game which is called Stuffing About, which is English for cleanliness with the board game. So basically, the Starting About is a board game that adopts a learn and practice model where the children will play in a fun and interactive way as they play. Because it's a board game, you have to play with two or more children. And as they play, the game has incorporated some hygiene lessons about washing your hands, about clipping your nails, about not picking your nose, washing your hands before eating or after visiting the washroom. So it has incorporated different lessons that are important for children. And the objective of the game is to address the knowledge gap, because these children, the reason why the mortality rate is high in children is because nobody is there to teach them. Nobody is there to tell them this is not the right way to be. This is not, you're not supposed to do like this. After going to the washroom, you're supposed to wash your hands. After you should keep environment clean. Those are lessons that they are not taught ideally in school or even in their home settings. So we thought by having this board game, we can try to educate the children in a fun, interactive way, and at the same time achieve the objective of promoting hygiene and sanitation within our community.
Wow, that is like, I think that's one of the most brilliant ideas that I've had, and actually things that have been done to actually curb the problem on sanitation. And I'm sure for the kids watching this, you're pretty excited, I am hoping, because I really love board games and I am excited. So where could the board game be found if like the children watching would want to get it or anything of the sort?
Some of the board game is made on when an order is made. So when a parent wants to purchase the board game for their children, they make an order to us, and we be able to produce it, package it, and deliver it to them. So right now, that is what we have, but plans are underway to develop a digitized version of the game. We have contacted some software developers who are trying to develop an iOS and an Android version of the game, so that now it can be available to children across the whole country, not only in Mukuru and Nairobi, but also the whole country and the world beyond. So that is in the coming years, we're going to have the Android version, which is going to have different levels of attaining hygiene and sanitation. Because the game, ideally, it is meant to motivate and have positive reinforcement in children. So once they believe, or once they reach the peak of the board game, they are awarded with some points and they're able to unlock a new level. So that is how the board game is ideally supposed to be executed.
I really love that. And also to the kids watching, this is a very good way to also learn about hygiene and sanitation. You know, there's so many ways across the board that people could learn about sanitation. But if, you know, you've tried other methods and everything and people still don't understand, why not go for a game? So thank you so much, Victor, for joining us today. We're so happy for the insights that you have given and what you had to do for us. What's one last thing you'd like to tell the children watching?
Thank you. For the children, I just like to encourage them and to urge them to be ambassadors of hygiene. Whenever they're playing with their friends, just be ambassadors of hygiene. Tell your friend, wash your hands. Tell them, use your handkerchief. Tell them not to litter the environment. Be ambassadors of hygiene everywhere you go, because the change that we are trying to create can only be created by me and you. So we have to come together, join hands, and bring all our efforts together and become ambassadors of hygiene in our community and the whole country at large.
Thank you so much for that, Victor. And thank you once again for joining us. And we cannot wait to see how this is going to start changing lives, you know, since the people watching actually know about it. So guys, go out there, learn about hygiene, take hygiene measures seriously. We don't only take hygiene measures during COVID, but also just in life. So thank you so much for joining us. And we cannot wait for more developments.
Thank you very much.
Hi Eliud, my name is Trevor. I am 7 years old. I'd like to ask you a question. How can I explain to my friends about hygiene and sanitation?
Hi, Steva. That's a brilliant question. So this is how you could explain sanitation and hygiene to your friends. Okay, so with sanitation, you could simply say sanitation refers to facilities, behaviors, and services that prevent diseases caused by contact with human waste. Okay, and you could even go further and say the facilities include toilets. The behaviors include proper hand washing with soap and water after visiting the toilet, and the services include proper disposal of waste. Okay. While with hygiene, you could just say hygiene refers to behaviors that can improve cleanliness and lead to good health. So such behaviors include proper hand washing with soap and running water, taking a bath every day, and making sure that you put on clean clothes. So that's how you explain sanitation and hygiene to your friends. And also remember to be a champion of sanitation and hygiene. That means you keep reminding your friends to wash their hands, put on clean clothes, and take a bath every day. Bye.
Hello, Victor. My name is Luki, and I'm 5 years old. And what is my question? How do we keep our water clean?
Hello, Luke. How are you? Thank you very much for your question. Keeping our water clean at home is very, very important. One of the ways you can keep our water at home very clean is by storing it in clean containers and clean storage tanks. So when you keep water in a clean container and a clean storage, the water remains clean. Another way you can keep the water clean is by boiling it. When you boil water, you kill all the germs, you kill all those microorganisms that make the water to be dirty, and when you drink the water, it becomes clean and safe. Finally, another good way to keep the water clean is by separating it from any other dangerous chemicals. If you have maybe soap, if you have jik, if you have anything at home that can spoil the cleanliness of the water, you separate the water from all those dirty things. Okay, right.
Victor Kairu. My name is Amara and I'm 11 years old. My question to you is, what's your advice of how to minimize the usage of sanitizer and more clean water? Bye!
Hello Amara, how are you? I hope you're doing well and you're keeping safe. Thank you very much for your question. Keeping our hands clean is very, very important, and one of the best ways to do that is by washing our hands with running clean water and soap. So when you are able to do that, you have to ensure that you follow the 10 steps of washing your hands so that your hands can be clean. If there is no hand washing station anywhere near, always use a hand sanitizer that has some alcohol in it so that you can be able to remove the germs. But immediately you can find a source of water and soap, always wash your hands, because that is the best way to keep your hands as clean as possible. Thank you. Bye bye.
Hello, Eliud. My name is Mbushi and I am 12 years old. My question is, what prevention methods can be used to keep clean water safe for drinking?
Hello, Mbushi. That's a great question. So always drink bottled water if possible. Bottled water is the safest choice for drinking and all other uses. But if bottled water is not available, then boil your clear water to make it safe to drink. Boiling is the surest method to kill germs that cause diseases. I hope that was helpful. Keep safe.
Alright. My name is called Abigail. I'm 3 years old. My question is, what is hygiene?
Hi, Abigail. Thank you for that good question. So hygiene refers to the cleanliness practices that you and I have to do to maintain good health, okay? And this helps us to prevent diseases that make us sick. So a good example of a hygiene practice is, for example, washing your hands regularly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. This helps to fight germs that can make us sick. So when you practice that, you don't fall sick. That's what hygiene is. Thank you.
Wonderful time with the speakers who have been speaking before and have learned a couple of things. And we just like to close this by having an amazing young lady who is the 1920 AIESEC in Kenya president, and she goes by the name Jemimah Mutisya. So we'll just get right into it, yeah? So what exactly is AIESEC, Jemimah?
Right, thank you for the introduction, Tonya. To what AIESEC is, I'd just like to say that I'm very, very excited that we are finally having this event, the world's largest lesson initiative. And this is happening on the last day of my presidency term. So I'm very glad that this is how I get to check out of the organization. So for been wondering what AIESEC does, we are the largest youth-run organization, and we deal in leadership development. So we run a couple of events within the organization to ensure that you as young people are able to develop your leadership skills and be able to go on and make positive impact in the societies around you. Yeah.
That's amazing, actually. And speaking of AIESEC, how would you say it helped in the advancement of the SDGs? You know, we're focusing on the SDG 6, but how has AIESEC as a whole been able to contribute to the advancement and educate people more on the SDGs?
All right, thanks for that question, Tonya. So in the very beginning, when the SDGs were being launched, Nations also launched an initiative called the Youth for Global Goals. So basically the initiative is a way to advance amongst the youth, and the understanding of the SDGs. And AIESEC as an organization is a partner of this initiative. And there are a couple of activities that we run under Y4GG, Youth for Global Goals, to be able to ensure people, the youth, understand the global goals as well as implement them. So possibly would be this, the WLL. So this is an event that has been run all over the world by AIESEC entities to ensure that young people are able to sustainable development goals and are also able to take up simple daily actions in their own right that will be able to implement these goals. We have Youth Speak, which is actually an event we ran as AIESEC in Kenya, I believe about a month ago or so. And it was the same concept, being able to different multiple stakeholders to discuss the SDGs and talk about some of the projects that we can actually implement in the country to be able to advance SDGs. And I'd also like to point out one of our main products, which is Global Volunteer. I'm sure if you've heard of AIESEC, you've also heard about the exchange program and Global Volunteer. The cool thing about it is that every single one of our projects are aligned to one of the SDGs. So when a young person from the world comes into Kenya, or when a Kenyan travels out of the country, then they're going to directly contribute into the advancement of an SDG, be it education, gender equality, or clean water and sanitation, which is the SDG that we're discussing today. So those are some of the ways that AIESEC has been helping since towards the advancement of the SDGs.
That is actually pretty lovely. And for this to actually happen, it's happening through AIESEC, and that's something that I believe the kids watching right now are really grateful for, you know, because they're getting the opportunity to actually learn more about the SDGs and most importantly, clean water and sanitation. So thank you so much, Jemimah, for that. And I hope to you guys watching that you have understood or taken at least 2 or 3 things from what we've been talking about. And so let's just go out there and, you know, impact the community as much as we can. So thank you. Emma.
Thank you, Tonya. Bye, guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Mbugua, the Communications Manager of this year's World's Largest Lesson. And thank you all for joining us as you have come to the end of this video. I'd just like to say a huge thank you to all of the stakeholders that we have. Starting with our partners, we'd like to say a huge thank you to NMG Nation Media Group. We have Ohio 365 and Heroes for Change for joining us. We also have the media team who came up with this video that you're watching right now. Thank you so much. We also have the children, the beautiful children who asked the questions. Asanteni sana for all of you. Also, we'd like to say a huge thank you to our speakers, Ellyanne, Eliud, Victor, and Jemimah. Thank you so much for sharing some words of wisdom and just educating the children and young people watching all to do with SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation. I'd also like to thank the volunteers who we had on board. Each and every single one of you made this event a success. So for that, we say thank you to each and every one of you. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you who is joining us today. The children, the parents, the youth, whoever you are across this country, thank you also so much for joining us as we were spreading awareness and teaching our children and our young people on the SDGs. Thank you all so much.
If you tell us don't home heat, tell us don't home heat, tell us don't home heat. If you tell us don't home heat, tell us don't home heat.
I make mountains out of molehills, and it can be quite the scene. Think about how far I've come in my life, looking greater than it's ever been. If I could eat my pie in the sky, it would be just my thing. Sipping on my champagne, and my life looking greater than it's ever been.
If you tell us don't home heat,
My life looking greater than it's ever been. How did you rise so fast, so high, and not melt your wings in the sun? You must be Africa's son. How did you rise so fast, so high, and not melt your wings in the sun? They say you must be an African. They say you must be Africa's son. They say you must be an African. They say you must be Africa's son. You must be an African. But they should know about me. Keep me humble, oh God. My life looking greater than it's ever been. I overflow flame. My pockets are full of greed. Even on my worst day, my life looking greater than it's ever been.
If you tell us don't home heat, tell us don't home heat.